Hi everyone, this is Ronnie from UK Fruit Fest, and I want to make a video about why I've went to so many fruit festivals, I suppose, and so many different events, and why I've stayed so interested and motivated and passionate about a raw vegan diet and lifestyle. And I'll be honest with you, many people that I've met along the way have not remained so passionate or interested, or don't even follow this diet or lifestyle, or don't go to these events anymore. And I found that to be confusing and sad and everything else, but it's very human and natural for people to have all sorts of different interests and all sorts of different little paths in life and things that they explore, and then they go and do other things. And the funny thing is, for me, I get confused because for me, my path towards a raw vegan diet was years, if not decades, of making all of these little health improvements over the years. So I had started to drink water when I was a teenager. I started to cut down on sugar, and then I cut out on refined sugar in my late teens, early 20s. And I started to do meditation, and I went to a martial arts class, and I was doing exercise and going to the gym. And I started to do the positive thinking stuff and learn about that and try to stick to positive behaviors and positive thinking. And then gradually gave up caffeine and gave up vegetarian. And in all this time, I never heard about raw foods, really. Never really heard about the concept of raw vegan foods, or maybe if I hadn't really taken it in that strongly. I probably had heard about it, but hadn't really ever considered it seriously. And I remember having time though when I would think I want to eat healthier, and I would try and eat a salad for dinner. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just trying to kind of make some kind of a salad or vegetables or whatever. And then I felt really hungry later on and ended up caving in and eating something else. But I was trying to do things. And then I went vegetarian and I felt better doing that. And gradually started to cut down on animal products, less processed foods, and eventually went towards vegan. And I heard about the raw thing then, so I was starting to cut out salt and gradually cut down different processed foods and cut out bread and all this stuff, and eventually went raw and stuck to it, and went to events after that. Right, that was my path. Um, but I've realised that that's an unusual path. I thought that would be a very logical, usual path towards a raw vegan diet, that a person is interested in health and improving their health and better energy and looking better and all those things, and protecting their health and feeling good, and they would start making little explanations and changes and gradually down a path that would logically lead them eventually to what's the healthiest thing, and then get towards a raw vegan diet and lifestyle. So what I've realized is that's absolutely not the case. And I'm amazed that I've been to the events over the years and met fantastic people, but I was amazed that later on I figured out a lot of these people might have left the event and they went back to drinking alcohol. And I didn't mention that, but I made a decision very young not to drink alcohol and basically only have on a handful of occasions, really. Um, Drugs, obviously, but never had drugs really. And like, I thought it was all these super passionate, health interested, conscious people. Now, I don't know if I ever really thought of myself as a health nut or anything like that, but I was thinking back to it way healthier than a lot of people that were around me and had discipline and things around my health that other people didn't have. When it comes to my health, that's one of the areas of my life that I'm the most like responsible as an adult. I'm the most adult. You know, I'm a little bit childish in some areas of life still a little bit childish. But with my health, I'm a fully developed, mature adult, right? And a lot of people have it the other way around, where they have other areas of their life very mature, very adult when it comes to certain things, and then when it comes to their health, they're a child, right? So, so that's kind of interesting. But I expected a lot of people would have been in this same path, and that they would have let go of all that stuff. So none of that stuff would be a question anymore. going back to eating animal products, caffeine, alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, non-vegan foods. I thought all of that stuff would be a bygone thing that was gone in their life, done. And over the years, I realized that wasn't the case, and that many people come to these events from being on a standard diet, and that really fascinated me. I was surprised by that, especially someone that puts on festivals, and I started to realize there's a lot of people coming who are on the standard diet, go back to the standard diet when they leave, drink alcohol, maybe even smoke cigarettes, don't exercise. There's lots of people in that situation that come to these festivals. And so the festivals are great because they are open to everyone and people have a great time, regardless. But it's always fascinating me because I thought more people would be on that long journey like me of already cutting these things out and then being ready for this diet, right? And I think there's some people like that. But more and more people, it was a particular health crisis that led them to raw vegan diet, or it was vanity crisis, if you like, because of the skin or something. A number of things like that. And for some, it may have been performance stuff with sport. Some people got into it like that, and some people more of a spiritual thing. And for many, it might just be a week away from their usual life and all that. And so I've realised that there's so many different types of people. So it's no longer so surprising to me when I find someone went back to eating obviously cooked food. It's not that surprising because they probably hadn't really given it up, And then someone going back to animal products. It's not that surprising to me because I realised that some of us gave that up and made that decision years ago and before we were raw, but many people didn't. And it's not that surprising. It's kind of surprising when people have alcohol and stuff, but it's not that surprising because I'm realizing that there's a lot of people that aren't in that situation yet, that aren't ready really for health, that haven't really made that commitment yet. And I guess that's the difference with me, is I've made it a priority for me. I've made it a priority. I made it something important. And if it's not the most important thing, it's way up there. It's not so important that I'm not going to kick people out of my life if they're not in line with my health ideas or something like that. But it is important to me, it's seriously important to me. It's a message that I want to live. It's something I want to some degree, inspire other people in some way with. And I think it's something that the world has to go towards. And I think the best thing that we can do as people is to make sacrifices personally that we think might help future generations or other people, if we can be a living embodiment of what's possible for everyone. Maybe, I don't know. And maybe that's a big ideal and all that. And maybe I'll, get tired of helping people out and just do this for myself and leave all the other stuff behind in a while. And I don't mind either way. So why have other people not been so passionate about this? A lot of people just aren't ready for it. They really just aren't ready for it. They've not made that commitment. And a lot of people will say things like, people have said bizarre things like, what's more important to me is being healthy, not being raw. You can't be one and not the other, right? You're not healthy if you're not raw, pretty much. I mean, not for my standard, maybe for your standard, but not for my standard, including cooked food in my diet. I don't see that as being healthy. Will you create certain diseases with plant-based vegan foods? No, you're not. Probably not gonna create heart disease if you keep the fat low and all that stuff. Probably not. And I don't necessarily think it causes many diseases, vegan foods. cooked foods vegan. I don't necessarily think it's that damaging or that problematic. Um, but that's me saying that looking at research and stuff like that, or hearing about research. And most of this is vegan doctors telling me this stuff, right? Whereas if I was to eat cooked food, and I hear the reports of many people who are raw who try cooked food, the difference is so strong, visceral, like the difference in your body, the difference in how you feel, the difference in your mind is so quick. And people want to believe it's not going to feel like that. Like people that are raw that want to go back to cooked food or whatever, they really want to try and add cooked food in. And sometimes they'll present like, oh, I'm adding cooked food into my diet. I made a little decision. It's like, they didn't make a decision, guys. This is their addiction has still got a grip of them. And some people are so control is so important to them. Personal control, right? They need to control their life. Everything has to be controlled and in this barrier. So they can't say, I'm not in control. They have to make up some idea that they chose to eat cooked food again. They didn't choose. Addiction. And it happens, people go raw, they try it 2-3 months, they get really excited about it. They have one meal of cooked food, naively, they go right back to eating cooked food. I had a friend one time, was raw for over 2 months, and they kept on saying that they were thinking about cooked food. And they were thinking about cooked food, and they thought if they had one meal of cooked food, it was coming up again and again and again. This is what happens with addiction and cravings. It comes up again and again and again and again. And they think, well, if I just have this one meal of cooked food, that'll go away. And it doesn't go away. And I said to them, you have that one meal of cooked food and you'll eat cooked food every day hereafter. And that's what happened. I knew it, but it didn't matter that I had 10 years of experience or whatever. No one listens to me, right? So no one that I've ever met at any of the groups that I've run ever listens to my advice. You're not eating enough calories. Oh no, Robert Morse tells me I need to be in touch with the spiritual world, and okay, fair enough. You don't need supplements. No, I do. I need to think. You've not got a thyroid issue. Your doctor told you don't have a thyroid issue. You don't have to take iodine. Why are you doing these things? No, I must. Someone online said it. People get caught up in these weird ideas, and they never want to listen to me. It doesn't matter. No one's listening to me. A lot of you guys watch my videos, and you argue against me, argue all the time, right? And I'm happy with the argument, the discussion. But some of these things, it's like, to me, it's beyond discussion now. Like, it's not something I'm really wanting to discuss anymore. And a lot of you have never met any raw vegan people. You've never been to any of these events. You've never met these teachers that you're looking up to. You never spent time with them. You never lived with them. The people that are posting online saying they were raw, now they're not raw, you didn't work with them. You weren't there. The people that said I had no energy, and when I was raw I was feeling terrible, and I had no energy in this, and I've been had them on a stage at an event a couple of months before, seeing them teach classes, never mentioning any health issue, never mentioning any problem. A number of people I've seen stuff like that with. So I have experiences that most of you don't have. And I actually am one of the few people that sticks to a raw diet, Not just the person that says it. And there are more and more people doing it. And more people doing it. But whatever. Topic of the video, trying to get back to that. yeah, some people just weren't ready for this. And in terms of the festivals, like, why haven't people come back? Here's what's frustrating to me about these festivals, is that I'll go to something like Woodstock, and I don't think I'm the smartest. I don't think I've made a lot of bad decisions in my life, right? Or not good, or not great decisions, average decisions, some bad decisions, whatever. So I'm not like the world's best decision maker. But going to Woodstock was an excellent decision. I ended up going. It took me a while to make that decision. Wasn't something I did instantly. Desired to go, but looked at it for a long time. Held myself back from doing it. Kept on thinking about it. Kept on thinking about it. Eventually, I made a decision to go. You know, I should have seen it straight away and went, "How do I get there?" But I didn't. Now, went to that event, and many people were saying, best week of my. I've heard this so many times at Woodstock and UK Fruit Fest and other events. Best week of my life. Best weekend. Best weekend of my year. This has been the best 3 days. This has been the most important. This has been the best day of my life. I've heard people say that at these events. This was the best day of my life. I've heard people come up to me and say that. Best day of my life, best week of my life, best time of my life, best, best, best. Guess what? Do I see these people back again the next year? See, I went to Woodstock, and I don't know if I had the best time of my life, but I thought this was a pretty great time of my life. This was the best thing I did this year for sure. And I thought to myself, wow, this is the best thing that I've done probably this year. There's not a lot of other things in my life better than this. I think I will go back to this. I might go to other events like this. Now, so to me, that's kind of logical, right? But that was for me, like, I literally didn't have a lot of great stuff going on in my life. Other people maybe do, but for me, I was like, this is the best thing. So when I went back the next year and there was various people not there, and then I would maybe message some of these people and find out, and I couldn't understand it. How had they allowed this thing that they thought was the best? How had they allowed this to disappear in their priorities? How had they allowed other things to come in and take over? Less important things. It really, I didn't understand it. I've been back there every year. I want to go this year. I don't know if I can because of the travel situation. But I will try and get there, you know. And with the events in Europe, I started going to those, and I went to a bunch of those over and over. Now, I couldn't, unfortunately, go to all of them all the time. I just had a limit, especially with the job that I had a limit of the time I could take off. I had a limit of the money I could use. But everyone has time off in their job to do something. And to me, Woodstock would have been that something. Or Denmark, or Spain, or Slovenia, they continued. You know, so it was so obvious to me, like, why wouldn't I go back to this thing that fills me up? That gives me more, that gives me this, that I turn up and I have the best conversation of my year, that I get to see these people that have been back again and again, that I love to see, that I get to actually be around them, that I get to go and educate myself if I like, that I get to have activities and games with, once again, wonderful people, and everyone's in such a great mood, and the food is fantastic, and it's the best thing. And everyone is saying it's the best thing, and everyone's enjoying it, and everyone's leaving, and then people are like, yeah, maybe I'll go another time, can't make it this year, I won't be back, can't afford it this time. They've just wasted their money on something else. It's never that they can't afford it. The people that can't afford it, it's not even a question. They're not even thinking about it because they can't afford it. Like, they actually can't afford it. But there's many people who, they just waste their money on other things Did they waste it on another thing that was better? No. They did some stupid investment thing and lost the money. They took some Bitcoin course or whatever and lost the money. They maybe went away to do some detoxification weekend at some place that was nowhere near on the same planet as a UK Fruit Fest or a Woodstock Fruit Festival in terms of the experience. Listen, you go to Hippocrates, beautiful place. It is not in the same league as a Woodstock Fruit Festival or a UK Fruit Fest. Not a chance. And you're spending 5 times the amount to go there. And they'll be selling you supplements and all sorts of stuff. That's it. And you have to do massage and for hundreds of dollars more and all this stuff. So I couldn't personally understand it, why people would say this is the best thing, but I'm not going to prioritize it in my life anymore. I could not understand that. I made the decision to prioritize these events because they were so special, so fascinating, so fantastic, wonderful people. I encourage you to do that. I think you're mad, crazy if you don't. And some of your friends of mine that have been in the past and you've let it slide too, and you're like, maybe you're waking up now thinking, oh yeah, I really should get back to the thing that was the best week of my life, the time I had the best day of my life, when I met people that today are still supporting me. I see people that have come to UK Fruit Fest in the past, they put a post up and they've said like they can't come to Fruit Festival, and it's fine, but they put a post up and I just see UK Fruit Fest people saying, that's fantastic, well done, you're fantastic, you're great. And I'm like, look at that. Look at the support they're getting from the UK Fruit Fest community. You know, it's unbelievable. And I don't know, some people need to come to their senses. You know, these fruit festivals are so special, so unique, and it is amazing that they're surviving. It's amazing that they're still around after last year. Do not miss the opportunity to come to one of these events. But if you want to come, UK Fruit Fest is fruitfest.co.uk/registration. We have about 10 tickets left. If you want to be part of it, go and check out the information, get in touch with me, set up a time to speak, and we'll see you there at the festival. So thank you very much for watching. Feel free to share the video with others, subscribe for more, feel free to ask questions below. Join us on Friday for Fruity Friday, fruitfest.co.uk/Fruity Friday. Check out the Love Fruit podcast for over 70 interviews with raw vegan teachers, leaders, and long-term experienced raw vegan people. Thank you for following. Go to fruitfest.co.uk to join our newsletter. I'll need to share the new newsletter link. But thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe. See you in another video.